City Pigeons, episode 116. It is the most wonderful time of the year, I think. Meech, Tom, how we doing?
I'm so glad to be back.
Yeah, I know you are, Tommy.
Ready
how we
for
doing?
spring?
You good?
Ready for the fills? We're all. Some of us are starting to move on to the
Not me,
the next
baby.
sport
I
where
just
we
got
see
I
you.
got another piece of Super Bowl.
Jesse, another
I got another.
eternal victim.
I just keep throwing money into it. I'm like, oh, I'll stop by the Eagles shop. I'm right here.
Maybe
Maybe they got some new styles.
Any Super Bowl merch?
Nothing. Well, you'll get around to
That
it. All right.
That Jesse guy came in again. We got
Yeah.
him.
Well, after I did the Eagles chant in the Eagles shop the day after the Super Bowl, I was on legend status in there, so it's all good.
And posted it to Instagram.
That's damn right, baby. All right, over at the bar, we got our boys Rocky and making his triumphant return, Mark Goodhart in the blazer, which shows he's not the same guy that we knew before.
Yeah.
Look at him; he's got the drink, the
messing
high-profile drink.
He just came straight from a meeting with the next Jalen Hurts.
Is that what happened?
I hope so. I was passing some knowledge to the Drexel law students in the contract drafting class.
There you go.
They had me in, and maybe I dropped a valuable nugget.
So are you like what do they call it, adjunct professor or something?
I have a friend who's an adjunct, and he had me in as a guest lecturer.
Oh, nice.
Well,
nice.
and truth be told, after the Adam Schefter tweet, the requests for this kind of service are just piling up.
We're blessed to have him.
Absolutely. He's like our adjunct professor. So if you have any, really in-depth, sophisticated nuggets about anything that's going on at any point, please do feel free to chime in. And then, of course, we've got joining us as well, our great friend who couldn't make it in tonight, but's kind enough to join us remotely, one Eric J. Fink. Finkster.
G-L-E-S, Eagles!
Let's go.
Still going.
He's good at making the microphone clip out with his very loud Eagles chants. Thank you for that, Fink.
What's happening, Fink?
How are you feeling?
Hi, guys. I miss you. I feel great.
Think was that you
having a
down
great
in Washington the other day in the 7th or 8th inning when we were up 11-3 and they scored a run, and the response to that was a handful of Eagles chants. Was that you?
Absolutely. Who else would it be? Of course it was me.
Wait, I just learned something. Fink, can you see the screen? I realized in this mode I can cut Meech and Tom out, and it can just be me and you one-on-one, baby.
I can lean to the side.
Look at
I like this.
It
looks good.
There's all these different modes. Look,
Now we're
make
back.
Fink small. All right, we love it. We love it.
Eric, I have a question for you. The decor behind you. Are you in your humble abode?
There we go.
Yeah, I have no
bathroom.
direction over this. I'm just here.
That was not you. I was wondering because you guys had that dynamic backdrop in the old apartment. I was wondering who was responsible.
Yeah, creative design is not my thing.
Design.
So,
We love you, man. Don't change. Don't let
Creative
anything
design.
about you change. You hear me? Okay. So, guys, we're back in the swing. All right. It's baseball season. And as I was thinking through this, obviously we know everyone refers to Christmas as, the holidays as the most wonderful time of the year, as the song goes. But I kind of feel like on the sports calendar, this might very well be it. And for some of us here with baseball, Rock already protesting. I love that.
Yeah, I
hold on.
disagree.
Let me just. Okay. So for a lot of us too, we got kids who've been playing baseball. They're just starting, coaching, having a catch. Then I went down to opening day the other day. Fantastic. It's so nice to have games on. We got a game in the background. By the way, anyone notice the bases are loaded? Schwarber's up right
about
here.
to go yard.
I can't
in our
concentrate all
honor.
of a sudden.
In our honor.
Sheesh, I can't concentrate. But to me, it's like the most wonderful time of the year. Besides the one thing, and I know Fink, he struck out. Fink, the one thing that pisses you off too, though, right, buddy, is we are in the fake spring. You know what I mean? This is the fake spring because last couple days it came back and clapped back at us. Yeah,
it's 55 degrees and windy today. Tomorrow it's going to be 76 and sunny. Everyone gets happy. Then the next day it's back to 42. This is some bullshit. I hate this. I hate this part of spring.
Exactly. But in terms of the sports, we've got March Madness that's kind of transpiring as baseball starts. You got baseball. I just like having baseball games every day, aside from the random off day, is just a wonderful rhythm. There's always something to keep track of and react to. I just think it's fantastic.
It is. But one thing that really bothered me, the first few days of the year, there were no day games. It's all night games. I mean, I swear to God, Rob Manfred does this every year just to personally annoy
Are you
me.
talking about during the week?
during
Day
the
games,
yeah
like
the first
businessman
few
special
games
or
of the
like- yeah.
season.
Okay.
There was like one 3:05 game and a 4:05 game. Then the rest were 7:05. It's like, yo, spread it out.
Can I tell you something?
Shouldn't you be
12:05,
shouldn't you be
1:05,
working during
2:05.
those hours
It should be
anyway?
shooting off all day long.
I was
Here's
with
more
a,
baseball.
I was with a very
Shoot off all day long, huh?
I was with a very wise man earlier this morning
know
who
it.
literally said the exact same thing. Why are there not? There should be day games on the entire, first week or two of the
The entire
season.
season.
That's Ed Rendell coming to you with the,
Sounds
the
good.
baseball
Yeah,
take.
yeah.
He's
It probably
locked
doesn't
in.
shock you that I'm against lights at Wrigley Field.
Of course,
I-
you are.
you know,
Of course you are.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just silly. I mean, that was like 1980s. They
Get
changed that.
over it.
But regardless of that, it's today was a great baseball day. The game started at 12 o'clock, and I mean, I know the weather kind of sucks. All these games are cold, and the batters don't like.
What
hitting
game
in.
started at 12 o'clock?
There was
Oh, there were other games?
today there was games all day long, but that's how it should have been the first few games of the year when it's opening day and the second opening day for other teams that
Yeah.
didn't have it the day before, because you always need that day off to cover for bad weather.
I hate that. I hate
I
that
don't-
because
I
you
don't
watch the
mind
first game and then you're excited and then you got a day off.
Yeah,
It's
it
very
kind it
annoying.
sucks in that sense, but I understand the point of them. It's for the quick makeup game that you don't have to reschedule later in the year. But not having day games in those first couple days is
All right, but who
inexcusable.
wants to argue that it's not the most wonderful time of the year? Because it sounds like some people
football
took.
is. Football
Okay.
playoffs.
Well, you got to
Fall.
choose.
Yeah,
You can't be like this time and that time.
the start of the playoffs. The opening weekend of football playoffs is probably the greatest.
It doesn't.
I would say the opening week of the NFL
Right.
season is the best time. Of
Okay.
the year. Week 1, you got everybody on their fantasy shit. Everybody's ready. They're hype. Football's back. That's the best time of the year for sports.
That's the other time that came to me because you do have football beginning and fall. The summer fall transition.
Oh, and you got at that time of the year, if the Phillies are balling, you still got the Phillies to look forward to. They're probably in the playoffs around that or getting close to the playoffs around that time of year, right?
That's right.
Yeah,
So-
I guess it really depends on how teams are doing, because I just said the NFL playoffs, but if the Eagles aren't in it, it's not the greatest time of
Right.
the year.
Yeah, you're checked out then.
So it could be for me October, which is
Yep.
the baseball playoffs are
But to
happening.
your point, though, we've been very fortunate the past, I think, 3 Octobers, right, to have the Phillies going deep and the Eagles kicking ass. That's not going to be every year. My point is the beginning of the baseball season, year in, year out. And I guess if you know the Phillies are going to suck, but still, hope springs eternal when you got 162 games and you're just starting out. So I'm sticking with it. I'm sticking with my point here. Care what you guys say.
No, it's a fine.
Is it fine?
stance to have?
Okay.
I mean, it's
I'm
your,
surprised.
It's your opinion.
I'm surprised. Honestly,
I think- I'm
embarrassed.
As big as an Eagles.
here's
fan
my
as
here's my
Jesse is,
opinion on baseball when it comes to that kind of shit. When you have a team like the Phillies that are almost expected to make the playoffs, and you kind of just want to get the regular season over with, and it's like, all right, please show us you have something this October again. It's harder to enjoy opening day for me.
Well, then
When-
it's 162 games.
But
It's-
when your
it's a long
team
season.
That's why
is
it's like fun
projected
because it's like,
when
you
your
don't even
team's
have to worry about
projected
that.
to finish third or fourth, I think opening day is more fun because you're like, hey, maybe they're going to surprise everyone. Maybe this is going to be, the year they show up and turn it around. So
let's go to Fink on this real quick because I don't want to forget about him because even though he's not here. Fink, what are your thoughts on this? What's the greatest time of the year, pal?
Good.
It's good. Is he? Wait, is he trying to mess with us?
he's definitely moving. His
Is he
eyes
fair?
are-
I got you guys good. I got you guys so good on that one. So I think this time of the year is good. It's a good time of the year. Like
We know it's good.
no, but what's your favorite?
I have to
He's
go with
doing
the
the
start
Billy
of
Joel
football
in his one
season
headphone.
too.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer, especially in
it's
Philadelphia.
like-
It
I'll
also
tell
I'll
you
tell you
different-
why the start of football season is not good.
Thanks, Fink.
Oh, come on, Mark.
Well, no, it's great.
not
But
good.
that Sunday, invariably, it's always like 85 and sunny. And then you're indoors watching football for 12 hours.
Right.
And then the weather goes to
Nice.
shit in the fall. And you've missed this amazing day
Hey,
outside. And
That's why we got to go with what we did last year. I don't know if you were you there for the Brazil game down the shore.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we got to get the outdoor staying down the shore for the first week or two of the football season is a pro move, dude. Let me tell you. Go to the beach in the morning,
just
rock up, bang.
this little segment proves that
Hey.
there's so many good sports weekends and sports.
You're right.
Fucking
Why
rule.
even debate it?
And let's just enjoy sports.
I
But
want to
this
get
is
your
the
guys'
best.
And the
opinion on
worst-
something as the overlap. So Monday there was opening day, and I took my son to opening day. And as you're leaving the ballpark, people were heading into the Flyers game. So have you guys done
Those
the
poor
the
people.
double up? And so
I've
I
got-
said to Ben, I go, Ben,
Yeah.
I have Flyers tickets tonight. You want to go straight to the Flyers game? I'm like exhausted.
We
I
know
just
what
wanna
he
go home.
said.
And he's like, yo, let's go. I'm in. and I'm like, just kidding, dude. I gave the tickets away. He was all pissed. But have
Was
you
he like-
guys done the double up?
Was he like, I got my Saber socks on. This is perfect.
Yeah,
God,
basically.
yeah. Come on.
Have you
Ben.
done the
Enough
double
of that
up?
crap. Okay. Real quick on that point, I was at opening day and quickly became so pissed off that the Flyers were playing that night because I looped around the broad shade and made a horrible decision. And when I came around, they had the Wells Fargo lots closed. And I don't know how they do this, right? When they got a Flyers game, but they hold a certain amount of parking. You couldn't get in there. It was an absolute nightmare. It took me forever to get in. So I was pissed off that happened. In terms of the double dip, there was a legendary day. Some of you guys might remember this. It was
Triple dip.
no, this was
Eagles, Giants?
Eagles Giants
I
at 1
remember this
o'clock.
day.
Phillies Yankees World Series that night. That was the ultimate double dip. I don't think you could do any better than that. I'm all for the double dip if you got nothing to do. You know what I mean? You got the time. Why not? You know, I'm into it.
What year was that?
Let's do it. Well,
09?
yeah, that had to be 09,
09.
right? Because that's
Yeah.
the year that, yeah.
I feel like I was at that Giants game.
By the way, I just had this random thought. Chase Utley's performance in that series was very analogous to Allen Iverson's performance in the Lakers series.
It was
where
what?
we
That
started
was a
out with a
big word
bang.
there.
Start out with the bang. He destroyed it. What did he have? Like 6 homers or something? You know this.
He had at least 5. I was at the game. He had 2.
Right. And
think he
it's
had
like
5.
the Iverson step over, like the greatest. You're going up against the most awesome
Then it's
franchise. You punch him in the
diminished
mouth
because you didn't close.
and you have an awesome performance, and then you just totally lose. Huh? But yeah, how about the Eagles winning that Super Bowl against the Chiefs?
I think part of why this makes this time of year
34
so
to
special is that
nothing.
You're still riding. You're
Definitely.
still riding that.
And interesting enough, BG comes out with the trophy to throw out the first pitch. Great
moment.
call. Couldn't do better than that. Saquon follows up behind him. Love it.
Did you see who was right behind them?
Yeah, Davo.
Davo.
Davo, our boy
Motherfuckers
Davo.
everywhere.
Yo, he
He's-
couldn't
Did
be
he
more
throw out
in
the
there.
third pitch?
No, Davo.
Was he really?
He was behind
Oh my
them
God.
in a Philly. Like he was
Bro.
everywhere they went that day.
Things
You
are
look
really
right behind
taking
him.
off for him since he's been on the show, huh?
That's right.
We've helped catapult him.
No.
You,
The
you know
best
what?
moment of
I
that.
never really noticed him before, but now
Oh my
every thing in the background. I was watching a Instagram reel today, and it was somebody asking Pete Davidson about his clothes, and right next to him, walking away, is Dave O. I'm just like,
He's everywhere, man. He's a must follow, dude. You never know what you're going to see with him. What did you want to say? Somebody
To
over
say
there?
the best moment of that, I don't know if you caught it, was BG and Saquon get the balls back from the people who caught it, and they take them and they throw them into the crowd. And I just thought that was so awesome because normally these guys, these celebrities, they take the ball. God knows what happens to it. They probably just like chuck it away. And they're just so, it's like they can't make a wrong move.
Right.
And they took the balls and they threw them in the crowd. And I'm just like, man, these guys
but
get it.
At the same time, imagine going home, be like, yeah, this is the ball that Saquon Barkley threw into the crowd. And everyone be like, yeah, the fuck it is. He wouldn't do that. You liar.
I think we lost Fink, by the way. Fink, can you hear me, buddy? All right. Well, we'll catch up with you.
Remote thing. We gotta change.
But
that
no,
name.
listen, what I was going to say is I saw something talking about the Phillies seeing these guys with the trophy, and it occurred to me, you think they were cool with that? Like, obviously, them bringing the trophy, get the crowd hyped up, the Phillies management, it's
Why
a good
wouldn't they
idea.
be cool with that? That's motivation.
I'm just saying,
for them,
they've
man.
been having, he's back.
There he is.
They've been having lots of issues getting to that final hurdle.
Yeah,
and now you got a team that won it on their field, holding it up. You know what I
It
mean?
was an extra one. They had an extra. They're like,
Right.
here, hold it. You guys can hold this.
There's
for-
so many of those, by the way. There's so many.
If they had an issue with that, then they are genuine haters, and
All right.
I don't think that's in the show
So-
there.
Going to the game brought back so many great
Opening day.
emotions. Yeah, going to the opening day game. And what I realize is I really wish I could go to, I think I'm going to have to get on the Mark Goodhart program and go to 2 to 3 sporting events a week because there's just so much good stuff that happens. I'm like writing down things left and right of random shit that's happening. And it took me back to the early days of the podcast when we used to talk about you know, the do's and don'ts of going to games and people wearing sandals and all sorts of weird shit like that. So I thought it would be nice to revisit that topic
Never
because
wear another man's jersey.
yeah, like that sort of stuff, you know, but it's been a while since we really delved into that. And I think in this more modern time we're living in, there are a lot of awkward moments at the ballpark. And I felt that when I was there, and I just love looking around and seeing the way people handle mass gatherings like that. I can't get enough of it. I really can't. And we always talk about these like curb your enthusiasm type moments, right? And I had one because I'm sitting there and, you know, these rows are pretty long, right? There's probably 20, 25 seats from row to row. You got the guys that are going around selling stuff. Shout out to the Parrot man.
Yeah, he's
Saw
still
him
there.
online
Still
again.
rocking.
He's the best. He didn't have a heart attack yet. So we're happy for him.
An aneurysm.
I think he's at
but,
the Wells Fargo too.
He's all over. I told you.
He's at the Met. He's everywhere.
Listen, I saw him bartending in Atlantic City at a show out of character. And he was like, I was like, and he was like, it's freaking great, man. He's the best. He's the best.
He's never out of character.
Yeah, never out of character. So anyway, I'm sitting there and the guys come around, they're selling the statesides and stuff. Can't believe how much they're charging for that. It's another topic. But the guy's like, yo, I'll take a stateside and a Miller Lite. And he's like 15 seats deep from the aisle, right? So the dude, and this has become common practice, what does he do? He passes his credit card down. 15 people are passing the dude's credit card down. Okay. So the guy gets it and he's got the little thing he charges and he goes, oh, he's like a tip. You want a tip? And the awkward moment where the guy asks the dude who's paying across 20 people if he wants to tip. And at that moment, the guy was like, oh, $5, like he didn't know what to say. Right. And so I thought about it and I was like, this creates so many funny situations because what happened was that guy said, like, I forget if he said 15% or $5 or whatever. Guy processes it, passes it back. But then another guy gets, who's right next to him. He goes, I'm like, well, I'm like, yeah, like you got to nail. Everybody knows you can't. And I was like, how badass would it be? And this was the curb your enthusiasm moment. I was like, how bad would it be if guys like, nope, no tip, man, no tip. Just send it back. It's just funny to me. Like
on their handhelds, they are percentage based.
And I got to tell you guys, I'm going to deviate from the category. I told you guys I'm going to talk about awkward things that happen in the ballpark. I have one that's related. This was at the Sixers game. It's different. I'm sitting behind a guy, and I feel bad saying this, but I got to say it. I'm sitting behind a guy, and at those games, you're very close to the person in front of you. This guy has some sort of gigantic open crater wound in the back of his head.
Nice.
What?
I mean, like it looks like a volcano. I'm not lying. And it's like staring at us, my whole family. And I'm just like, bro, you gotta bandage that. You gotta something.
Man. Get a hat on.
That's not very common.
I didn't say it was common. I'm not saying it's common, but I'm saying these are the awkward moments where you're like,
you should go to the souvenir booth and buy a hat and just gently place it on top of your head.
Did you ask the guy? Like, excuse me, sir. I've been sitting back here all night.
You can't address it.
What the hell?
Excuse me, sir. Is there an issue with the open wound on the back?
Can I get you a Band-Aid?
Your head volcano's erupting,
He
sir.
probably wanted to. I mean, if he got a gash in his back of his head, what's that guy's name from Saturday Night Live?
Head
There's
gash
a lot of them.
Harry.
There's a lot of them.
Harry.
Head wound Harry, yes.
The guy's walking around with a fucking gash in the back
An
of his
open
head.
wound in his
It's like
head.
exposed to the world.
Right.
He probably wants people to ask him about what the hell happened to his
man.
head.
No, I don't think so,
It's probably
dude. This was beyond
Anybody
discussion.
that's doing that is not the kind of person
Fink,
I
did you
wanna
have
strike up
something?
a conversation with.
No, I don't want to. I don't even.
Look, Fink's asleep. Get out of here.
Ask
man.
somebody.
All right.
It's literally, this is, we were talking about the head gash guy. But
no.
like, Rock's like, oh, why did you not ask him? Would you really ask somebody that?
I mean, if there's a guy sitting there in front of me for 3 hours with a it was
Sorry,
massive.
Phil just gave up a home.
It was massive head wound, Harry. By the way, if he's sitting there with a massive head wound right in front of me for 3 hours, I'll find a way to talk into
you
it.
won't.
But yeah, so
That's big talk. You're the guy behind him. No
well,
chance.
next time it happens,
Just
I will
drop a napkin and let it fall gently onto his wound. And
It was
stick
probably
to
a
it.
great story.
Hey, buddy, I'm sorry. I dropped a little bit of my beer in your head wound. I'm sorry.
Okay, so because I know you guys have to have some good ones. I think, Meech, you said you got a good one, but I got to give you one other awkward moment because I was away last week and I was flying back on the plane. And, it's crazy. When you walk to the bathroom on a plane now, you come back, like the number of devices that are, everyone's using their devices and it's great. I mean, it kills time. It's wonderful.
I think raw dogging is the new trend on a plane.
Well,
It
oh,
is.
when you don't use it.
Yeah.
Don't do anything.
You don't do anything. You just
Nah.
sit there.
You don't even get a drink from the lady.
At first, I was like, "What? Okay, listen. Okay, oath mode throwing this in there. I can't say that I have, man. Oath mode asks who has had relations in a pro
got some
sports
fucking
arena.
brains in the
That's a
back.
good one. That's a good one.
He
Okay,
said, "Let's
but
get
wait,
people in
speaking-
trouble."
All right, hold on. Speaking of relations, so when you watch something that's got some content like nudity or like sex scenes, it gets real awkward, right? Because you got your device
can't-
right there.
You can't have that. You
All
can't
right.
do it.
Oh, okay, so here's
Yeah,
the
that's
thing.
a plain no-no.
All right, but hold on. I decided I was going to watch Anora because
Oh, jeez. I haven't even seen
Wait.
it, and I would know.
wait, because it just won
Great
all
movie.
these. Yeah, it just won all these awards and
Great
whatever. I'm like,
movie.
I'm
Wait,
going to
what
watch
movie is
Anora,
this?
and I kind of remembered that they
Were your
said,
kids next to
Just
you?
one.
"Nah, they were across the aisle."
They were in.
But
their business,
so
they
it's
were
so funny.
coached.
Listen, I'm watching this, and if I'm not going to give a story away, but it's about a prostitute who ends up in a relationship with a Russian
Put that on my
oligarch
list.
son. But the first like half hour of the movie is like them just it's like Pretty Woman. He hires her, and they're just going at it. And every other minute there's a sex scene. And I'm like watching it, and I have it up on the thing, and I'd immediately like, oh, and I grab it and like put it down like this. And it's so obvious what was going on because I'm sitting there kind of like holding it like this, trying not to. Such a
Taking
weird.
the tint down.
Yeah, so
And that's
awkward.
how Jesse.
Paul's
And that's how
movie.
Jesse got added to the no-fly list.
Yo,
Yeah, seriously,
I saw.
man.
Yeah, I didn't know
Nah,
what movie you're
bro.
talking
And
about.
then
and
the
I saw-
US
I saw that
Marshal
movie.
sits
There's a
down and-
lot of nudity. I don't know how you could watch that on the plane.
It's not just
And-
nudity; it's like,
Yeah, it's like some-
fornication.
Yeah,
right?
there's some.
Were you sitting
There's
next to
fucking
Roz?
in that movie.
Whoa,
There's some
Whoa,
fucking.
man.
Jeez.
Whoa,
Whoa.
do not do that, dude. Like my kids will watch this every once in a while. I don't need that from you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Save that for me.
His
It's
kids only need
ridiculous.
to know that his dad watches nudie movies on the plane.
Dad watches
they don't.
porn
They don't
on the
need to hear
plane.
you cursing, Rock.
Listen, this
Please.
is not a nudie movie. This is one of the finest films.
It's like a
according to the
Skinamax
Academy.
class. It sounds like a Skinamax
picture.
classic to
Yeah,
me.
best picture.
That
Come
was
on, I'm
pretty
watching the
good.
best picture.
Budget was
I am
$6
an
million for that
artiste.
movie.
All right. Anyway, so look, and I want to open the floor here.
I want
To anyone who's got a
I know
good-
Meech
Yeah,
always
Meech is
has
a,
the
Meech is a
heat.
connoisseur of
don't
behavior.
like put pressure on me, but I did a pretty stupid thing at a Phillies game one time, and it was
well, now we definitely.
it was very awkward. It was I don't know if you I got to set this story up with another story, obviously.
It's not about a commercial from 1980, right?
I don't know if you guys remember in like 2002, the Yankees had a dude in spring training, Ruben Rivera, and he stole a bunch of shit out of the guys like Derek Jeter's locker and Jorge Posada's catcher's mitt, and he was selling all the shit. And they found out, and they had a meeting, and they confronted him, and they dismissed him from the team, right? So that's the kind of shit. And this is like before blogs and everything. The only way you find this information out is if you like read the newspaper or you watch SportsCenter 18 times in a row in the morning, like
Right.
every normal kid did back in 2002. So anyway, it was a couple years later. I'm at a Phillies game, the first year Citizens Bank Park opened. And I got great seats out in right field. It was like section 104. I was like 15 rows deep. The Montreal Expos right fielder comes out, and it's Rivera. And it's the dude who played for the Yankees in 2002. I'm like, yo, I'm telling everybody in our section. I was like, yo, this guy stole shit from Derek Jeter, Bernie Williams. I said, just taunt him the whole game. So I got the whole section like saying shit to this guy, like, yo, where's I need Derek Jeter's batting gloves. Can you get them for me? And then we're talking about guys who are on the Expos, like, yo, when you get back into the dugout, can you steal his cleats and bring them back out to me? And the guy keeps looking back at us, and he looked like he was upset. He was like, he's almost pleading with us, right?
I'm in 30.
And no, then he comes, the one inning, he comes back. And this is when Citizens Bank Park first opened, but it was, for some reason, it was definitely packed. But for some reason, I guess everyone's searching the field. It's their first time there. They're out of their seats. And it was kind of quiet in between innings when the guy runs out. And he comes running out, and he's like, "That's not me. You got the wrong person." Like, and like everyone's looking
What
around.
an asshole.
Turns out
There's another Ruben Rivera.
this guy is Juan Rivera,
Ah.
who also played on the Yankees in 2002.
Oh, dude.
And he's like just confused. He's like, what are you talking about?
He's got to appreciate
gosh.
that.
And then
though.
he must have like went back into the dugout and told these guys like, yo, they're telling me and it must have clicked. Like they think I'm Ruben Rivera. And he came and
What did you do?
I felt like an asshole.
Did you say,
So stereotypical,
But
man.
I
All
don't-
Riveras are the same, huh?
For real.
Wow.
Yeah.
the I felt like an asshole, but I don't think everyone around me got it. But I was telling them, I was like, yo, this is what this guy did. Like I was making it known to everybody in right field. And we were like bullying him pretty much. And it turned out I was wrong.
that's amazing.
Juan Rivera, if you're out there, buddy, I apologize. I'm sorry.
Mark, can you get Juan Rivera lined up, please? Thank you. Thank you.
That's a good call.
Man,
we
that's
gotta find him.
tremendous.
No.
We got to get some crowd. That'd be good. To
Maybe we
hear
get him and Ruben Rivera on at the
his
same time.
His perspective.
One other,
Reach out to friend of the pod, Greg Vaughn.
yeah, maybe he knows him.
Maybe he could help.
Another awkward moment for me the other day was
Sosa, another hit.
the booing of Taiwan Walker. It was a joyous occasion. It's opening day. They're introducing people one by one. Spirits are high. And of course, we went out of our way to boo Taiwan Walker.
I think that's corny.
I do too. Like, look, the guy hasn't been great. We're obviously paying him a lot of money. He hasn't done anything, wrong to us. What's he supposed to do? He's not trying to suck.
He's not good, but
Right.
he only started 15 games last year. If all goes well, he's only going to start 4 or 5
Right.
this year.
And he hasn't
Just
touched
put
the
up with it,
field in
right.
the playoffs. Like, it's bad enough for the guy. Why do we have to boo him there? I don't know. It's just
Yeah,
felt weird.
it's
to me. I was
not a
who are they-
cool
they're
thing to
booing?
do. Yeah,
Why are they
right.
booing?
He didn't even pitch in the playoffs,
He
right?
wasn't on the
No.
roster.
So
No,
like,
I
don't
mean,
think
he
he's
was
active.
he was there.
He's on the roster, but I don't think he's part of the active.
It's not his fault they gave him the money.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what right do we have to boo
It's like
him
the-
just because he
It's
sucks?
the Tobias Harris syndrome.
And by the way, if he had been like a starter who sucked and blew it, it's one thing. But it's been kind of sides for the money, no harm, no foul. I don't know. I just felt like a little unnecessary for us to do.
And maybe we should have learned Tobias Harris is not the problem.
Ouch. I did always feel like we were a little unfair to him, but that's because I thought he was just a nice guy and I felt kind of bad about it.
he was so
Uh,
passive, man. Like I don't want to
I don't wanna do
apologize
Sixers.
retroactively to
Yeah,
Tobias
I don't
Harris
want to do
for
Sixers. I decided we're
Yeah.
going to
Somebody-
have fun with the start of
Right.
baseball.
Yeah.
Once we have time, we'll do that. Go
Yo,
ahead, Mark.
here's
So, Jesse-
my only
sorry, go ahead.
Sixers thing.
I
Goodhart
said
Goodhart was kind enough. No, it's barely got anything to do with the Sixers.
Sure.
Goodhart was kind enough to give his tickets to my son to go with, and he took his buddy from high school, and they met Skrilla, the rapper from
Love Skrilla.
from Kensington, and they were so excited. They got their picture taken with them and shit.
That's
It
the
was
highlight.
pretty funny. They asked him if their dad owns the Sixers, and which would be me. I'm the dad, and
Uncle
They're like, nah, we got these tickets from Mark Goodhart. I think he might own
Yeah, I
part of
wonder.
the
Think,
Sixers.
do you know who Skrilla is? Because Misha had
No.
no idea who Skrilla. Do you know?
Nope.
Damn, you're getting.
I only
old,
know
too.
from YouTube videos. I seen them doing an interview with somebody, but that's it. I don't know anything else other than that. Yeah, I'm
But
getting
you know
old.
who
I
he
get
is.
it.
He knows
I know the
of him.
name. Yeah.
Fink, you're like the youngest one here. Don't be talking about I'm getting old.
Yeah.
We don't want to hear it.
Not said he's
I'm
getting.
getting old, man. It hurts getting out
Yeah.
of bed and stuff, dude.
Right.
Oh.
Please.
Just wait until you're our age, Finkster. All right.
Jesse,
Well-
I just wanted to go along with what you're saying about the booing of Taiwan Walker. And I brought this up to you. Jesse and I met up in the 7th inning, had a quick beverage together. And I was really upset. So they introduce the players through center field. And they come up and they, name and they go down these stairs and they come to the top. And the only one player that got introduced, Alvarado, did anything to acknowledge the fans, pump us up. He came up to the top of the stairs, he raised his arms, and he's like, yeah. And I said to Jesse, and he did not have an issue with the players. And I said, this is I love Bryce Harper. Oh, he happens to be up to bat right now. I love him. But come on, dude, you're the face of the franchise,
Look,
making all this money. The
look.
kids love you.
I got-
And
I
he
got
just
it.
walks up the stairs and walks down. He doesn't wave. He doesn't acknowledge. None of these guys. Trey Turner, Schwarber, I'm surprised because he's the man.
You ever,
And none of them do anything to acknowledge 45,000 people cheering for them coming up these stairs except Jose Alvarado. And I'm like, come on, guys,
Maybe they're-
engage for 30
By the way,
seconds.
do you
They're locked
see
in.
that? Do you see that I captured that moment? Look at the joy. He's just happy to be here because it looked like he was going to be gone.
Reminds me of how
He's back.
Antonio Alfonseca used
Well,
to
how about
Everyone
this,
else,
right?
love that
everyone
body
else seems annoyed that they have to walk down these stairs and greet the fans.
I got a question, right? So this was before the game, like right before the game.
That's right.
Yeah.
Rob.
Player
All right,
intros.
so
That's
Jose
what we're doing.
Alvarado's probably not going to be in until 3 hours later, right? The rest of these guys are going right to the field. They're fucking locked in. Why do they need to acknowledge all you guys? I want them focused on the goal that they got at hand.
Yeah,
Let
the
him
goal,
go.
the goal's like 6 months from now.
That's
Yeah.
whack.
Do a little.
It's a 162 game season. It's not
Now
the
is the
NFL.
time to lock
do,
in.
do a little WWE
Something.
routine. Do the shit
Something.
Iverson used to do, where he's like, "Yeah, come on, let
Something.
me hear you." Just
Yeah.
wait.
I'm
no,
just,
no, no.
I'm
Do
just saying
something.
shit.
How about
I
the way
agree
the,
with
how
Mark.
about the way the Eagles come on the field? How about
Right.
the how about the way
The
B Dog?
flamethrowers
How about
like
the way
Wells
Fletcher
Fargo?
Cox?
Okay,
Like,
I'm
do
going to defend
something.
them.
Oh, there
I'm
we
just
go.
stirring the pot. To be honest with you.
Is that a grand
Rom?
slam?
Yep.
No.
Okay, listen. Grand Slam is one man on.
Oh, I thought it was bases loaded.
Anyway, no, listen. I'm going to defend the players for one reason. Guess the only thing I was thinking about as I watched this happen. The only thing.
What
Just
if he got
guess.
hurt?
Are they gonna
Eagles
say-
winning the
Hurt
Super.
comes
Eagles
up.
winning the Super
I want you
Bowl.
to understand. This was a steel stair situation that was bolted to the outfield wall. These guys are half of them are wearing metal cleats walking down this thing. Most of them were like making sure that they didn't bust their ass coming down. So I don't know if I got a
That's
problem with that. Just saying. Just saying.
It was pretty janky, and it was out in the middle of center field during batting practice. There's a little ribbon around it.
Mm.
It was
You should have threw some T-shirts out, maybe some batting gloves.
Yeah, the
Kiss
most,
the baby.
A few fans.
You sent this out
Yeah,
the other
kiss a
day,
few fans like me. Over
Yeah.
now.
Tongue kissed.
when you sent
Hey,
out the other
Who
day,
doesn't want that?
you were talking about awkward moments at sports, and I couldn't think of anything, but the most awkward shit that I've ever seen was just the other week when Tracy Morgan threw up sitting on the woods. Dude. How? Like, it doesn't get more awkward than that.
I think it was a
at a
medical.
sporting event. It
I think
doesn't
it was a
matter if it's
medical
medical.
emergency.
The first thing everybody's going to think is, oh man, he's all fucked up on some sort of Henny or something, right? And I'm just like,
I think I read it was Steven Spielberg's daughter that was sitting next to him and got like.
Mhm.
I saw that. I was like, oh my
Ow.
gosh.
We're
how
lucky there wasn't like
embarrassing.
a Stand By Me sympathy puke train that because I know a lot of people that,
Lord
have,
ass,
that
Lord
don't have the ability to smell
Oh.
vomit and then
Oh.
not vomit.
Oh,
I
that
have
would have been the
some-
shit.
That could be awful.
no that is pretty
scarred.
awkward. That is,
Okay.
Tracy Morgan drank castor oil before the
I'm
game.
scarred.
I got a couple
and
other
ate a raw egg.
a couple other Phillies things I want to get to. I'm going to get to one last thing before we pivot a little bit.
you don't want my awkward moment, huh?
All right, hold on. I don't know. You said the Bryce thing. I didn't know you had another thing.
Oh,
I
never
didn't know.
mind.
But
No,
Uh,
it's probably not that
we're
good.
in left field, and Kepler comes out after he hits the home run, and everybody's going wild. You know, it's like the first time we've been able to like cheer a new guy on. And at one point, he's like, "Yeah, cool," and then he turns around, he goes like this. He literally went like this, and I'm like, if you're listening, I'm making the motion of like,
Chill.
okay, guys, chill.
Or is that the
Relax.
LeBron James?
And I was just like,
No, it wasn't like a with the leg up.
you know, I don't know what he meant. I think
And it
in the-
wasn't wasn't
No, it
like,
wasn't an
relax,
Eagles
keep
thing.
It down. We got
It
you
was
kind
probably
of
like, guys, calm down. I'm probably going to get hurt in 3 games.
like, I'm not this good.
Yeah.
It's just weird to me though.
I get hurt every year, guys. Just wait for it.
I think honestly, it was an expression of him being uncomfortable getting that much attention like that early on. He didn't really know how to handle it. He didn't realize this is Philly and like
well, that
we're trying to greet you, you
I can
know?
see that.
Like Bryce turns around and gives a bow, you know what I mean? So
It
he's
wasn't
got a little
like
bit
the
to learn,
Eagles
I think.
celebration where like calm down after the defense. makes
Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't the Caucasian cornerback Cooper.
why are they
DeJean.
showing meat in a cup?
Yeah.
Keith says he got a high five from you. Got a high five, Keith? He said he was sitting that. When they came through. Yeah. Damn, I wish I knew you were there, Keith.
So Kepler was doing the opposite of what I wanted the players to do. He was saying, "Calm down. I don't want to actually get excited."
Kind of. Yeah, I think that's right. But that was after he hit the home
I don't
run.
think he quite understands us yet as a fan base. He'll learn.
It's going to endear
Yeah,
him.
he's German. You don't know yet.
Right.
It'll
Don't
come.
do that, Frank. Don't
what?
don't German shame him.
He's-
Okay.
I'm
It's been a
not.
long time.
What are you
since
talking
that
about?
happened.
Thinks German.
All
Yeah.
right? I know. Look at this guy with
I'm
the
just saying he
stash.
does it. He does it. Yeah, I know. I got to shave. All right. Get out of here.
Okay, see ya.
Mark, you've been to about 1 million sports events.
All right, let's get Mark's awkward moment real quick, and then we'll pivot. Go ahead, Mark.
But real quick before that,
boy.
no, because you guys mentioned it, I've also seen at Phillies games in the 2008-ish era, guys banging chicks in the men's room two different times, and everyone in there starts cheering them on, and it's great. Like, go. I never waited around to watch them leave, but I bet you that moment is fucking classic if you're there for that.
A lot of they get
when they
arrested
walk
for
out
that.
together.
Like
I
the
saw
cops
somebody
come in.
did that last year and they got arrested. That was
Wow.
floating around.
And that's some good
Not if you're
content.
I'm sorry.
Roz.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For real.
Mark, no slamming.
Back
Thanks.
to you,
Okay,
Mark.
that's an audio-visual no-no.
That is
Okay, you're up. Give
So
your
it happens when I'm not here for a month. I forget how to conduct
give your
myself.
big moment there.
It's not that big, and now that there's all this hype, it may not even be that cool. But I'm interested in the take of our two food proprietors, Mr. Thomas Henneman and Mr. Eric Fink. So I was at the Phillies. I just thought of this because of the Phillies. I was at the Phillies game last year, and I'm with my son, and he wants to go get Mac and Manco's pizza. So we
Manco
go up
and
to the
Manco.
line,
Sauce nose.
and he wants to look at it before he buys it because, like, sometimes it's undercooked, sometimes it's overcooked.
Pizza?
Pizza. So I open the box to show him the pizza and then close it. And he's like, nah, I'm good. And this woman comes out from behind the counter screaming in my face, screaming, you have to buy that. You can't look at it first. Now we can't sell it. She's screaming at me like at the top of her lungs. And I was in front of my son and I was like, whoa, he just wanted to like see the pizza. And everyone else in line is like, whoa, like, what is she doing? The guy behind me is like, I'll buy that pizza. I don't care. So she's like, we can't sell it now. And she's screaming at me. And I was like, we didn't touch it. And like, it's ignoring the
doesn't
fact
matter.
that like the people making it probably like,
I kind of see her
So,
point.
you
I
can't-
mean, I wouldn't have yelled
You
at
can't
you.
yell at them. Like it's
But-
a guy with his little kid. You can't yell at. I mean,
But you can't
I
be
hear her point.
opening the pizzas.
Yeah, you can't.
That was
Like-
the question I was going to
Yeah.
ask.
but they're
you.
stacked up there for you to
Right.
self-serve.
But would you like if you got a hamburger, would you open it up and then open to see if it's cooked well enough? Like you can't open a product without. But like, listen, man,
There's a way to
I
be-
understand
you
because I know
breathed
how
on it.
Mac and Manco's at the stadium sucks and they're all undercooked. So
yeah.
Yeah, but there's a
I
way
mean,
to
you-
behave.
but
is
you
what Mark's
can't
saying,
go-
right.
you
It's
can't
like-
go checking out unless you like specifically ask, hey, can I get one well done, and then wait for it. But you can't just
Correct.
go opening boxes up.
So maybe I'm willing to admit I was wrong.
Yeah, but
maybe
you can't be
maybe
mad.
you were both a little in the wrong just to get on your side, to defend you a little. She shouldn't have yelled at you, maybe.
They
But-
count.
oh.
They count cups down there, just so you know. Like they track everything. They'll count the lids. They'll count the cups. And full disclosure, we're entering our 13th season with Federal Donuts and Chicken down there.
Doing
We have a
great.
stand
Oh,
down there
yeah.
at CBC. I still can't believe they did that deal with us when they did, which was in 2012.
Tell us the
13.
terms.
I could one thing I can say, like Ryan Howard gets
T's and
most of this.
C's.
You get a few points, and we get a few points. So that's kind of how that worked.
So
Thank you.
what do you think, Tom? You think you can't open it?
You definitely cannot, because at
Can't
that
do
point it's more just
Your breath is on it, bro.
you can't touch it. That's not to say that she was correct in
And
yelling at a
when-
child.
from
which
her
is
vantage point, you're
is
opening
Philly.
the
You
box.
gotta
You,
learn.
might spit in that. She doesn't know you. She
correct.
like you just
Yeah.
can't
It's
tamper.
Philly,
But
with
you
man.
it.
still yes, but you still can't do that. She still can't.
They can
shouldn't have
prevent
reacted
that
like
by putting a little Mac and Manco sticker on it.
I love you, Airmark. We've had a wonderful relationship. I can't.
Oath mode
speak.
says it's an Ariana Grande licking the donut situation.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't
Me
either.
neither, but it sounds like I shouldn't have done it. You know what? I apologize to Mac and Manco's workers at the stadium. I was in the wrong. I'll come by and
You were in the
well,
wrong.
no,
The
you
but
pizza's undercooked.
you were in
there.
the
I
wrong,
can't-
but also their
Listen.
employee was also in the wrong.
Correct.
Okay.
Listen,
not
if-
be getting
if it-
berated.
Two
in
wrongs
front of,
don't make a
like,
right.
I think we
people.
can.
I'm not.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you buy the pizza?
No, it was undercooked when we
Oh,
opened the
he did
box.
it. After all that?
It looked like shit.
Ben was like, I don't want that shit.
I'm with the
Damn.
lady now. Now I'm on her side even more.
Okay. I got one last thing. Sorry, I said I had a last thing.
It was awkward.
We've already talked about this. Kid at the Eagles or at the Phillies game though wearing the big Eagles ghillie hat at the Phillies game? You cannot.
You have a $120
You
hat. You're
can.
gonna rock.
Yeah,
I don't
And
care.
I still can't get over the cost of that.
No.
hat.
Eagles won
No.
the Super Bowl.
Parent violation, though, not a kid violation.
Okay, fine.
It's a kid.
I don't care. You're obstructing the view. It's one thing to obstruct the view at the game of the team whose hat you're wearing. Now you're obstructing
I'll
someone's
tell you,
view.
holding a
Yeah,
sign
yeah.
Was he a
is
little
more
kid? Like, did you
obstructive
see
than,
over it?
I
than
don't
that
know.
hat.
11,
Yeah, who
12.
cares? Let the
Yeah.
kid be a kid.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, let him open the pizza.
All right. At this time, we're going to bring up
Anything
a
else we can
friend.
complain about?
Yeah, there's so many good things. I got way more. We didn't even talk about. I wanted to get into the ranking of the Phillies jerseys. Maybe we do that at the end.
The ranking?
Yeah, is that not?
In terms of color,
Phillies
like baby
jersey?
blue,
I'm
cream.
Yeah, like what?
Yeah, CP
rank 'em.
ranking.
Was that part of the homework?
Baby blue.
Nah, this is my own thing. It's
All
fine. Anyway, and I got, we didn't even talk about where the Phillies window's closing. There's some concern.
Yeah, 3-1.
It's closed.
Well, it's,
I
I was
did my
expecting,
tweet of the week too. I did my
I was
homework.
I was expecting Fink to talk about how the Phillies are going to be great. Don't worry about it. We're not there yet.
Can we talk
We're
about the
good.
greatest part of the season? The Braves starting 0-6.
That's pretty.
Oh,
glorious.
I
man,
soloed
it's
you,
awesome.
Fink.
I missed that.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that is good. I have so many things. Okay. At this time, we're going to bring on a guy who's done amazing work in the community. I myself am in the nonprofit sector, working with Make the World Better, revitalizing public spaces throughout the city of Philadelphia. So I have a lot of respect for other people that are in that line of work, and want to bring up a guy who Tom has actually been doing some great work with over the past couple years. Tom, I'm going to let you kind of take it from here, and we're going to hear about one of the great kind of champions of the youth of the city of Philadelphia.
Yeah,
So
we got a great.
we're going to change. We're going to get less sarcastic and cynical here for
Yeah.
a minute. And Meech,
No,
I'm going to
yeah.
dismiss
We'll
you.
still have some
Meech,
jokes.
go to the bathroom, okay?
Seriously, I'm
Take
out
your
here.
pad, Radinger. There's nothing on it, by the way. There's nothing on his pad.
It's all
He's
blank.
got a bunch of penises.
It's literally
Going the right
a bunch. It's totally blank.
So Justin Fishman is coming up to the stage now from the KB Foundation, and
Shout out, Joss.
just a wonderful Philadelphian.
He waved before he got on the
friend of
camera.
pod,
Here.
big friend of the pod, big friend of ours. And actually, I was first introduced to Justin through our dear friend Alex Epstein. Ep called me up a few years ago and said, "Hey,
Hey, best
you know, because I've done a handful of things, with the community over the years, via Federal Donuts and also personally." And he said, "There's a guy I think you should really talk to." He said he's going to press you, but he's going to press you out of love, and he wants to know if
Full court press?
well, in the best way, because that's what is required to make. Not to get too right into the weeds immediately, but through the mentoring, any work, any inroad you're going to make is not going to be once a year meeting with some kids, cutting a check, and washing your hands clean. We have to earn their trust, and that takes time, and that takes commitment, and that takes showing up event after event, going to offsites, hosting them. But yeah, enough.
Check's
about that.
good too.
What's that?
Check is good too.
A check is good too.
And did he ever bring donuts?
Sometimes.
I
Oh
bet
yeah,
he
all
did,
the time. Yep,
you know?
Yep.
The donuts were a
Yep.
big part of this. You got youth involved.
Well, we did actually. Speaking of Federal Donuts, we hosted a lunch and
Yep.
learn. And Justin, you want to talk about?
Yeah, we have about 20 some boys there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You
Why don't
showed
we
them-
real quick
yeah,
just
go ahead. Okay.
talk about the foundation as a whole, what it is,
Okay.
what it's called? Did we even say that?
I did. I said KB
Okay.
Foundation.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's the kind of the origin story and the mission
Sure.
and all that good stuff?
Yeah, and thanks for having me. This is awesome.
Absolutely.
And we have a lot of plugins with Philadelphia athletes, so it fits pretty good.
We're going to
uh,
get there.
Yep. KB. So KB Foundation is a group mentoring 501c3 in Philadelphia, and what that means is that we're about 95 at the moment, kind of mentor volunteers, of which Tom is one of them. Jalen Hurts is one of them, as you mentioned before, and we'll talk about that.
Tom, Jalen Hurts.
Same
It's
kind
about
of,
same, man.
and so we serve about 250 kids across the city. We go into neighborhoods and we teach a life skills program. We're doing that in 5 locations weekly. And then we take youth out of the neighborhood through various programs, one of which Tom mentioned, which is a lunch and learn. We go to different businesses around the Philadelphia area. When Philly schools are closed is when we go to those businesses. We actually were in 3 locations this past Monday, because I don't know if people knew, but Philly schools were closed.
Yeah.
We moved 70 kids from 50 different zip codes this past Monday, which was really cool. That was the first time we've done something like that.
So these are kids that otherwise would be doing nothing on that
Yeah.
day, and it really not only they're doing something, but they're learning and they're being exposed
Gaming.
to
They
various
be in the game.
industries. Right?
Yeah.
Or be in the game. Correct. They could
Mostly.
be gaming or be in the game. Yeah.
And so we have a unique trip. We take kids to Africa. We're on our 4th trip of that. We actually brought to Cote d'Ivoire, Africa. We brought boys back from Africa this year for the first time, which is really neat. They were all over the
Did
place.
the old home and
Eagles
home
training camp.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
The
were at a
Africa
bunch of
home and
different
home.
yeah, they,
yeah,
No
Africa
joke.
home and home. And so we actually just launched this year for the first time because we focus on middle school age, primarily boys, although our girls program is growing, a college prep program. So now we have 30 young men in that program, and that focuses on getting into paying for the appropriate school, trade school, undergrad, whatever it is, and then graduating. So that's a 7-year program that kicks off with a 9-week boot camp.
you talked about, the group. What separates the group mentor work from the one-on-one models that most people are used to?
Yeah, so the big difference with us, if you leave with anything, is that we are not one-on-one. And so I don't, and I like to keep things light, but, I think Big Brothers, Big Sisters, last I saw quoted was like 30,000 male mentors short across the country. That's 30,000 kids waiting to be matched to have an experience, right? So our model, we don't want those kids sitting at home. So Monday is a really good example. We had 6 mentors take 35 kids to a public company in Bensalem called HCSG. We had another 5 mentors take another 30 boys down to Solanus, which is a chemical manufacturing company in Wilmington, right? So because we follow state regulations and guidelines, as the ratio of mentors to kids, we're able to take more kids to have an experience. And then those boys get to see other boys or girls from around the city, and they get to build a kind of little network for themselves, as opposed to just being one-on-one. The one-on-one is very much needed, but you miss out on some things, right? So you're only captive to the network that mentor has. So that's kind of that component.
Amazing.
Right. And then any inroads you make with those kids, they turn around and walk into their neighborhoods, and kind of the domino effect of that has potential to have a much wider net and much more reach.
And we're relatively new. I mean, we're kind of, nonprofits. I mean, we were founded in 2017, but we really didn't start taking off until 2021 is when we kind of grow. And that was the partnership between Kirk Berry, which is the founder, and myself. And that's what we made a commitment to grow this.
Very cool.
You mentioned Jalen earlier, and I was talking with Meech beforehand. A few years ago, you can tell the origin story, how you got to Jalen. But I did want to touch on the event we did at Nebbinger Elementary.
Yeah.
And because what made it so special and so impactful for me was, having done, we've all done, well, not all, most of us have done a lot of these events, or a handful of these events, and interactions with the community and celebrities. And some guys will just come in and just give them the, hey, yeah, do your best, and, get up and, blah, blah, blah. We spent over 2 hours with these kids, myself, Jalen, Chef Nick Elmy, yourself, in a room with, I think it was 12 kids, and we all had separate tables,
kids,
and it was 2+ hours. So I had a chance to witness him make that connection with the kids and feel it. And you saw it from Jalen, and you saw Jalen light up, and you really saw how much he enjoyed it.
He loved it.
And it was incredible to watch. And Jalen talked about things that these kids need to hear. And it's going to resonate better coming from Jalen in a lot of circumstances than it would coming from me. And Jalen, you speaking about, Jalen, Tom, Jalen was talking to him, it's okay to be vulnerable. You don't have to do this on your own. He's like, you think Tom's making all these chicken sandwiches on his own? I'm like, see,
right.
I'm not Jalen.
There you go.
How did that come to be? Because I know that was something that you worked on. That didn't happen overnight.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And
We get
since
asked
then,
that a lot.
where does that lead to
We
now?
get asked that a lot. Like, how do you actually meet these people? How do you get them involved? And so Jalen's story is really good, and it's really interesting. But I need your guys' help. So it's July 2022. So what is the situation with Jalen at that time? Because my memory is not great these days.
That's
I think
the
he's coming
year
off-
that we went to the Super Bowl, right?
After that,
No,
yeah.
22, right? 3 years ago.
Yeah, that was the year we lost the Super Bowl.
But is it the year that when we were about to go? Was it
No,
23?
Jalen was not. He hadn't been to the Super Bowl yet.
Okay,
was a
so
rookie in
so it
21.
was we were about to start the year where he was
prelude
gonna
to
go.
the year that we went to Arizona.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it was when Wentz went out, and then Jalen took over,
That's
and then
That
no,
was earlier.
Yeah, it might have been after his first year.
Anyway,
Anyway,
it was after his first year.
point is, it was before he had
So
a ton of success.
So I get a phone call from one of my buddies, who ironically is one of my oldest friends, Justin. There's a lot of Justins in our
there's like 11
organization
of
for
them.
some reason. So they call me Mr. Justin. That's my nickname in the city, MJ or Mr. Justin. He happens to be Black Mr. Justin. And then there actually is a white Mr. Justin. I don't know how they all
Not.
came up with that,
Yeah.
but that's kind of
It's all you.
the nicknames from them. So I get a call from Justin. And he's like, you got to get down here. Jalen's here. This is the field house. We ran a tutoring and basketball program, which we don't really do a lot of sports.
Right.
It's just not really our thing. We're more like exposure to everything else. You got to get down here. Jalen's here. So I was like, Rachel was my wife. I was like, get in the car. We're going. We skid out on like 676. Like I'm going 100 miles an hour. We pull up to a field house and he's shooting a commercial. I don't know what for, but he's in like a purple velour jumpsuit or something like that. And then Justin takes me over to his marketing agent, Rachel, who is like she's very dynamic on her own. You can tell, like, without saying she's in charge, you could tell she's kind of like in charge of the room, right? You know, that kind of type.
His team of women people, they like scare me. You know, I imagine they would just beat me up.
She's awesome. So we go over. So he introduced me to her, and they shot. Apparently, a couple of my boys saw him. I don't think they knew necessarily who he was. So a lot of the youth actually don't know a lot of the athletes,
right?
Which is surprising or not. They watch a lot of clips, but very few games.
Yeah,
almost no games. So apparently they were talking. They knew he was someone because they were shooting a commercial, and he was in a velour jumpsuit.
I was literally at a school today, probably 15 kids. Like, how many of you guys are Eagles fans? And like 3 kids raised their hand. I'm like,
yeah,
what's wrong with you?
It's not like when we were younger.
No.
So they apparently they were talking a little trash to him, and they said, come over and like shoot with us. And the cameras tried to follow him, and he said no. And he shot with them for like apparently 30 minutes on the court. And from what I was told, he was like 88% from the floor.
Did he do like the Peyton Manning?
He was lights out.
SNL skit where he's like dunking on them.
He didn't miss a shot. Right. So I get there, and Rachel, she's like, Jalen wants to know, like, who are you? Why do these kids listen to you? Like, first of all, like, why do they seem like really good kids? Why do they come up and, shake our hands? And then like, we want to know more about what you're doing. So we speak for like 15, 20 minutes.
Chest up, eye contact.
Right. Firm grip. I give her my phone number, email. We exchange numbers.
Make sure Fink gets those notes, by the way. You know what I mean? You hear that, Fink?
Oh, I didn't say hi to
Chest
Fink.
up.
What up, Fink? Is he on there?
Yeah, look, he's still
My
here.
fault.
Let's we
What's
can
up,
bring him in.
man?
Watch this, right? Bang. There he is.
All right, good. Sorry about
He's
that.
got the
I said hi to
towel.
everyone else.
That's my move. Get your
All
own.
right,
Get your own.
that's enough. Yeah, he's got the Tommy towel going. It's got to be Gatorade though.
Yeah,
Tom.
you need a Gatorade towel.
So I send her a note like once a month. This is what I do for almost anyone, really. I'll send a note like once a month indefinitely until you get back to me about something, right? So I sent her a note for like 6 months during the season. I don't expect anything. Nothing heard. We're on one of our lunch and learns to I think it was like a wound care company in Bristol, PA called Gentel, right? We took like 40 boys, this wound care company. I get a phone call, like a weird
And kids
number.
love wound care.
They loved it. Well, actually, they got to pack it up.
Like,
They
could
got to
we
play
go?
with
Could
Band-Aids.
we go check out some wound care if possible?
Just needed a little wound care for that fucking head. Yeah.
Yeah, the guy. He needed the wound care.
Exactly.
Anyway, I
But
digress.
we like to say you can't be what you can't see, right? So we show them everything, and then they decide, right? So,
and surprisingly, a lot of kids are going into the wound care field. I will stop. I'm stopping. I'm going to stop. You keep going. We got to have some comic relief.
I like comic relief.
That's what we do.
So I get a random phone call, and it says Truist Bank on it, and my mortgage actually is with Truist Bank. So I've been getting like home equity calls maybe once a week. So I pick it up, and I'm like, I'm good. Please, just like, I don't need a home equity loan right now. And she was like, no. You don't want to hang up. Don't hang up. Right. She's like, we're such and such with Truist Bank, and we're with the NFL, and the NFL is doing a campaign called, it wasn't My Cleats, My Cause, but it was like Day of Care. And we've chosen 5 athletes, 5 NFL players in 5 different cities. It was like Atlanta, it was Carolina, and you could tell that they signed Jalen to this early because all the athletes were like, they're amazing in their own right, but they're all kind of second tier, right? So it was, who's the tight end from Carolina?
Greg Olson.
He retired at that point. So it was Greg Olson. It was like a backup linebacker in the Cowboys. It was the kicker from Atlanta. Remember him? You.
Young Ho Koo.
Oh, yeah, Young Ho Koo.
Yeah.
Koo, right?
Yep.
Nice kicker knowledge by Rock.
There was one other, and then it was Jalen. And they were like, so there was a lot of energy around this. And they're like, we've asked all of our athletes to highlight a couple organizations that are actually doing great work in Philadelphia, and he gave us your number.
Oh.
And I was like, who is this?
Bang.
It's like, is that like
you,
Vinny?
Justin?
Vinny, is that you? Like, who is
Damn it.
this?
Is that you, Black Justin?
So that's
No, it's white, Justin.
they actually go BMJ. So that's the event that led to the event that Tom participated in, where he did his day of care. I don't know if you guys remember that. He went around the city. He went like 3 or 4 locations. He was with us for 2.5 hours in the beginning. We did an exercise called Healthy People Ask, where about if you need some help, ask some questions. And that was it. We were kind of off and running it from then on. And then I want to say it was last year, they were like, what do you really need? They're like, well, we take kids out the neighborhood. That's our biggest thing, right? From Jersey Shore to Delco to Africa, right? We take kids out the neighborhood, right? So he was like, so they were like, well, so we spent about 40 to 50 grand in transportation a year. So they're like, what about a bus? He's like, yeah, that'll work. Yeah. So we ended up unveiling at the link on August 1st, the Jalen Hurts Foundation, KB Foundation bus, which we now have put countless amount of miles on. And that was this past August. We've done a lot of things that aren't public because he likes to make direct impact, but not a lot of it is seen. And so we're kind of here. And it's been an exciting ride. It's been really
you guys, do you use that bus on Sundays? Or just wondering, we could like park it.
For a minute, we thought we were going to be in the parade.
Can we use it for a tailgate?
That's a true story.
No
we
way.
thought we were going to be in a parade. I'm like, you know what? I don't know if we should be putting kids in here with beers getting thrown and
That's a good. That was a good call.
So I don't know who made the call, but
I got a question, right?
Yeah,
so,
anything.
I actually got a couple questions.
Yeah.
If a kid wants to get involved,
Yep.
how does a kid get involved? If a mentor wants to get involved, how does a mentor get involved? And like, what's like the age range of like the children that like are involved in the whole
No, I appreciate you asking that. So if we're in your neighborhood or your community or rec center, then obviously you can join, but that's very few. It's 5 locations, right? But our programming from 11 to 14 is pretty much open for any 11 to 14-year-old. And we list all of our events on our website. And then mom or dad can go up and just sign up for an event, and then they fill out the appropriate paperwork, and that's it. From a mentor standpoint, we have also like a contact us on our website, which is kb.foundation. And you can go in and fill out information, then we reach out to you. All mentors go through a clearance process, right? City, state, local, federal, and they sign a code of conduct, a little bit of training, and then they're good to go. The expectation is 2 events a year minimum. And we do that because I want to unlock, I believe, and not to get too deep in this, but I believe there's an insane amount of resources and I'm just going to talk about males because I don't run our female side, right? There's an insane amount of resources in the 35 to 55-year-old male cohort. It was starting to think about legacy, but they don't have time. They just don't. They got too many kids. They got too many jobs. They got too many things to do.
Sounds right to me.
Right. And so but they're at the point where they can open doors and pass knowledge directly. When I say directly, I think Tom hired 2 or 3 kids.
Yep.
Chef Nick is on his 4th kid. Last summer, we had 26 jobs. Those boys made $30,000 last summer. That's all through mentors. Because when I make a phone call, hey, yo, I need a job for a kid. It's not bureaucracy. It's going right to the top. I'm calling one of our doctors. We have a cardiologist who's like a top doctor at Jefferson, right? Hey, can you take 2 kids for me this summer? I'll make it happen. Yep. 2 kids, fully paid internship, scrubs and everything. We had Wills Eye Hospital's first ever teenage internship program, right? So we've had interns for 4 straight years. They put on the blue scrubs and everything, fully paid. At 14 in Philadelphia and Pennsylvania, you can go get working papers and you can work, right? So the point is that I don't need a lot of Tom. I just need a little of Tom. Goes nothing against that 25-year-old kid, right? Who wants to be a big brother, which is great. That's needed too, right? But we can unlock tremendous resources, both monetarily and opportunity-wise, for these kids in that age group. And I try to meet even Jalen. We try to meet everyone where they are. We have 3 Eagles currently. We have Jalen, Brandon Graham, and Braden Mann. Braden, great holder, by the way, the best, right? Braden, we were very fortunate. Braden wore us on his cleats this year.
To Braden, but it went, boom, boom. I mean, like I love the guy.
that Rams game, he had a couple that were,
I'm not like
I
diminishing
mean,
the guy,
that's
but
like
Jesus,
otherworldly
Difference
homage, man.
between win and loss.
Yes.
So in
Amazing.
general, you're looking for like mentors that can like, the kids got summer off. They're looking for something to do, something constructive, something that's going to put them on the right track. Here's a job for these kids.
No,
Like,
this is for our kids who have been in our system in our program for a long time.
I mean, you got a couple people here
because
that
we started 11 years old.
I ain't gonna throw no people on the spot right here, but you got my man to the right, you got my man on the camera. I would say myself, but I can't just hire some people. But
It's not just about the
Well,
jobs. The jobs are secondary.
Yeah.
Really, like time, talent, treasure, right?
Mhm.
So that's what we look for. Those three things: time, talent, treasure. What can you give on those three things, right? And we try to meet you where you are and be a good fit for you. So the jobs are really secondary. It's more so much the time. The job is just an experience. It's just exposure. If you look at and I'm gonna give you guys each a bracelet, but our tagline is exposure is life, right? So we started 11. And by the time you're with me, and I've been with some of these kids for a decade, right? And now we're going to start to put some kids in college and trade school and stuff like that, which is cool. You've traveled domestically, you've traveled internationally, you have a passport, you've worked, you've had working papers, you know CPR, you have an identified purpose, you have identified interest, you have a mentor who actually can facilitate you in that purpose. All those things by the time you're almost really we want you in high school before 9th grade. Our Africa trip is 8th grade boys, which is really cool. Can I tell that the Africa story is pretty neat?
Absolutely.
Very quick.
Yeah.
So I'm listening to these, we have a lot of industry exposure presentations, which is like Tom will, a lot of times he'll come as just himself and be a good male role model, but sometimes he'll come in his job, what he does for a living, and he'll teach what he does in a fun, hands-on way to the youth in one of our programs. So I noticed that a lot of guys kept coming in and going, if you fly right, straighten up, the world is out there. The world's out there for you to take. Now, most people generally, you guys probably know, but most of our boys have never left like a 4, 6, 8 block radius.
Yeah, man.
When we first went to Wills Eye Hospital, okay, we have bus stops. That's how so getting back to one of the unique things we do is we mix neighborhoods. We serve 54 zip codes, which when we go on a trip, you're talking about multiple schools. So they get to see their friends from different parts of the neighborhood. This is unheard of, but it's very difficult. So we have scheduled stops, almost like bus stop pickups, all throughout the region where we train the parents to know where to drop their kids off. Norristown, North Philadelphia, South Philadelphia, Temple, right? So we put out the stops, the kids come, they all know, that's it. So on one of the trips, we left 4th, we were at 8th and Walnut, and he asked me if he was still in his neighborhood because it was the first time he was 11 years old. So I was like, you know what? We got to go. Everyone's telling him go see the world. They don't have a concept of what the world looks like.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's go see the world. I'm turning 40 years old, and my friend happens to be up for my 40th birthday, and I'm just remembering this now. His name is Fabrice, and he's from Cameroon. I'm like, Fabrice, I want to take some kids to Africa. Basically, I haven't told most people know, but my favorite movie of all time is Coming to America. So that was probably the main reason. But I was like, Fabrice, I want to take kids to Africa. He's like, all right, fine. We have a nonprofit in Nigeria. You can come, you can check it out. We'll partner. I was like, all right, sounds good. Right? We're going to Nigeria. So I book a plane because I'm never gonna tell a mother that I'm gonna take her kid somewhere that I haven't been.
Right.
Book a plane to Nigeria. We happen to have a family relationship. This is a longer story, but we were a host family for an NBA player who happened to play for the Sixers. If I'm going over, let me know.
Mo Bamba. No, you're good.
Right. So Mo Bamba, when he was a kid, we were his host family, and then he just kept growing. And ended up in the NBA. His father is from the Ivory Coast. His father found out that I was going to Nigeria, and he said, Justin, this is not the way. You'll go to Cote d'Ivoire, and this is the way. And I said, great. Where's Cote d'Ivoire? Right. So he's like, so I end up extending my trip from Nigeria to go to Cote d'Ivoire. We fly to Nigeria. I land. I get off the flight, and I go through customs, and the guy looks at me and he's like, I'm hungry. I'm like, oh man. He's like, I'm hungry. So he wants money, right? Like a bribe. So I turn to the guy, like the cop, basically, he's got the weapon. I'm like, and he goes, he looks hungry. No. I'm like, all right, man. I get it. So they put me aside for like 5 minutes in some room. Then eventually they let me in. I went to Nigeria. There was a lot of men not doing much everywhere.
Right.
all over. When I got out of the airport, this is just my observation. Men just everywhere, all over. I met with the embassy. The embassy said, 8th grade boys, we can't advise it. Right. We go over to Cote d'Ivoire. It was night and day. First of all, what I really got a sense of, and I've been a lot of places around the world. I'm actually a Navy officer, so I've been a lot of places, and the airport really sets the tone for when you land, right? So the Nigerian airport was pretty beat up and basic. The Ivory Coast airport was looked like you landed in JFK. It was brand new, clean, security, everything. So we land there. I get taken to the former ambassador to the United States home in the middle of nowhere. See, there, the wealthier or build away from the population centers. So a lot of the roads aren't done in these big, huge, I don't know what you call them.
I was saying that's not uncommon. You know what I mean? You see that.
But here,
too.
Far.
Having our door open to the street,
to the main line.
the fact that our doors open to the street is nuts.
Right.
For when you go out into the world, right? There's no every door is behind a wall,
right?
In all these countries. So, I get pulled into this room and I got a blazer on and my Navy schmata that I wear in the desert and I get put down. I walk in this room and it's a council, and they're all in the African garb, the full thing, and they're it was one of those moments where I'm how did I end up in this spot? and the former ambassador goes, "What are you doing here?" I'm all right, here's what I want to do. I want to take kids. I want to expose them to whatever. And I want them to be exposed to the world. I want to get them a bigger fishbowl. Okay. And if we want to go back to Philadelphia, fine. But I want them to know how big the fishbowl is. And he said, make it happen. And so he turns to his guy and then he assigned me to a guy. And that was the first year. Came back to Philadelphia. I met with 12 families, right? We ended up with 4 boys that we took, one doctor, Dr. Tom, because we always take a doctor, and one other mentor. So we went with 4 boys for the first year. We just crossed our 30th new passport for that program. We're in our 4th year of that program, and we actually have boys coming back now.
30 passports for kids that have never left the four square blocks around their house.
And I want to tell
that's unbelievable.
Incredibly brief story. When I'm over there, I FaceTime one of my favorite boys, and I know for a fact he's never gone anywhere. I know for a fact. I go, look, man, look, this is Africa. Take a look. And he's like, MJ, it's raining. And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, but it's not raining.
Oh, it's not raining here in Philadelphia. How is it raining there?
Wow.
So he thought he doesn't know where Africa is. He doesn't know what time change plane. He thinks, and 10-year-old kid, dome, rain goes on, rain goes off.
Right.
And I was like, I'm on the right track here.
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
So what's the website? that they can
KB, it's weird.
KB.Foundation.
Yeah, KB.Foundation. We have can I promote something?
Absolutely.
Please.
Hell yeah. All right. We have our spring fundraiser, which Tom's been to a bunch of times. It's super fun. Coming up April 30th, Wednesday. It's downtown, super easy, very casual. It's sponsored by Human Robot, which is a big supporter of ours.
We hate them.
Surfside, Stateside is another supporter of ours.
Worst.
Shout out Jake, Human Robot.
We love you. I'm
Keeping
kidding.
it real.
April
My favorite.
30th. You'll learn more about what we do, what our impact is, and you'll have a great time. We always have a great crowd. It's always a great
You said
crowd.
April 30th?
April 30th, which is a Wednesday. It'll be like 5:30 to 7:30. You can go on the website, obviously, but then on my, can I put like my Instagram or something? Am I allowed to do that?
Man,
I've always wanted
do you
to do
think
that,
there's any
you know?
rules here?
I didn't know what the rules are.
You might get
This is
some
Just for me
unregulated.
watching shows.
This is unregulated territory, bro.
So
You can do whatever the hell you want.
if you go to my account, which is Mr. Justin Mentor on Instagram, and there's a link. I've always wanted to say this. Actually.
Link
There's
in
a
your
link
bio.
in the bio.
Get it
Yeah,
out.
baby.
Yeah.
There's a link in the bio for tickets.
Link in bio.
And we have an awesome fundraiser.
Wait, hold on. What happens on April 30th?
Silent auction. It's like a happy hour.
Okay. This is like the thing that I think I went to.
You went to this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you saw the stuff. So we actually moved that stuff that you saw. That's online now.
Yeah.
The silent auction stuff. So we have like a Ritz-Carlton overnight stay.
It's
One of the-
weird. Wednesday's the night that we do the podcast, and I just feel like
You have to come over.
maybe we have to do the
Maybe we could
podcast
do it
there
there, yeah.
because it's like we can't do both. You know what I mean? We can. It's gonna be very
You got
tough.
it.
Where is it again?
It's on 17th and Market.
1735.
1735 Market 5th floor. And speaking
Oh,
of
that sounds
Eagles,
so
one of
familiar.
our coolest silent auction items, and I try to get a little different items,
Mhm.
is Braden Mann does a learn to punt, and then he gives a signed item. So he's been doing that 3 fundraisers in a row, which
Rocky,
is really cool.
We should buy that and get like a couple people from the football game on Sundays to come down to learn
Hell
to
yeah.
punt. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Fink and I are supposed to
Take
have
you to
a
a field.
javelin throwing contest, but
I
it
mean,
hasn't
I've seen some
happened
guys
yet.
punt the
Fine.
ball backwards. You know what I mean? So there you go.
No, that sounds great.
I have a comment,
Go ahead,
Anything,
buddy.
man.
if you don't mind.
Yeah, this is great. You got
And I know
partners.
this, and I know this is not why you do it, but I just want to say you are a remarkable human being.
Thanks, man.
And the fact that you have taken what obviously starts as an idea, because everything starts as an idea, and grown it into this from 2017 to here we are in 2025, and that you have thought big and then acted big is freaking remarkable.
Yeah.
And it's a test.
Thanks, man.
and I know you don't want the credit,
Hmm.
but I'm sitting here in awe of an idea becoming reality. And I always say, it's one thing to do stuff, but to have transformative impact is unbelievable and sets you apart. And so I just want to say kudos to you, kudos to everyone on your team, kudos to the kids for being vulnerable, for opening their minds to trust you.
Yeah. they
But
keep showing up.
obviously you've got something about you that allows that trust to build. And so I just want to say thank you. And if there's anything that I can do, that we can do, this is a cause, and anyone who's out here watching, this is a cause and a mission and a movement, really, that is worth getting behind. And I just want to say thank you. And I am so impressed that you've taken this from a small seed, to grow it to what it is. And I've sort of seen tangentially what you're doing, but to hear from you here tonight, what you're really doing, it's unbelievable. And again, I just say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
And you
you.
got to see it. That's the best part.
And I'll say from my personal experience, I've been involved in a lot of different nonprofit stuff, and it's great. But I think when you have the ability to connect with young people on an individual basis and really, see that you're impacting their lives, and I've been amazed. Even the work, I was at a session today talking to people about MTWB and just telling them what a nonprofit is and how it works, and the fact that you can work for a nonprofit and you can have a good job working for a nonprofit. I realize that the people that some kids come into contact with can change the course of their lives, and you are definitely doing that in such a proactive way that I think that's amazing. I'm sure you see firsthand the impact of what you're doing, and that I think has got to be the most gratifying way to do things. So we appreciate you coming on. We're always, you're obviously part of the crew anyway, but we're proud of the work you're doing. We're proud of our guy Tommy for being involved, and we certainly will support you in any way we can. We got we do a lot of fun events and tailgates and stuff. Maybe there's a way we can help you. We just really appreciate the role that you're playing in the city that obviously needs a ton of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
for
it's
sure.
a pleasure to have you. So do come back and
Thank you,
see
Justin.
us.
Yeah.
Keep us posted. You want to send us any information on stuff you got going on, we'll post it on our media, our social media channels, and do whatever we can to
Yes.
support you. And, really what this podcast to me was always about, like the community of Philadelphia and supporting each other. And we've built our own little community here. So, with Tommy being involved and Jake and all the people we know, we're happy to support it, get behind it. So we appreciate you coming on, sharing your story, and anything we can do in the future, we'd be glad to do so. And at this point, guys, we're pretty deep into it. So I had a lot of, the good news is this, the baseball season is long as hell. So this is just the first week. Phils are looking good right now. Hopefully we got our boy Alvarado in.
Wait, are we done? I had all this Rocky on baseball shit.
Yo, I don't know what to do, bro.
Yeah.
We can't follow my
Rocky.
man here.
I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
like I listen, guys. I know that the fans have to understand. We had to delay the debut of Rocky on Baseball, so he's going to have to push it to next week, which is great. We'll be waiting with bated breath. We got a lot of Philly stuff to get into. Season's going to be long and hopefully fun the whole ride through. We're going to plan some great events. I want to talk to you guys about some dates, maybe to get down there and go to a game. So I really want to get that done. But thank you guys, anybody that tuned in. And Justin, appreciate you, man.
Thank you, Justin.
Great
Thank
work.
you. Hurrah.
And,
Yeah, man.
Thank you,
Go
John.
Phils. And
Go Birds.
Go Birds.